I live in the house that my great-grandfather built, and it's been in the family ever since. He came from Germany, two brothers, and later their parents came. But it was originally in the 1830s. John, Troutwein, and I live on Elsa Avenue, which is between Cold Spring and Belvedere. But he first moved into East Baltimore, where most immigrants really started out. He was a cabinet maker. Why he moved out into Laurelville and bought this property, I don't know. But he bought several acres. It was a farm. His wife operated the farm and his sons. He had a shop there for woodworking and cabinet making right alongside of the house. That building still stands too. He built the house alongside of my house, and that was for his son who took over the farm. But then he ended up being a builder, built many of the homes out there. And he also built two churches. He built the original Grace Lutheran Church. Then he also built Jerusalem Lutheran Church over Moravia Boulevard and Bel Air Road. That's where he's buried. He himself founded Sachs Lumber and Mill. Probably most people will know it by Bond Lumber later on. Most of his sons, other sons, worked there. Basically, you can say that Sachs Lumber started in the building of his workshop. He is listed in Baltimore Who's Who in the late 1800s. The farm was a truck farm, and they had their stall down in the Bel Air Market. I can remember after my grandmother died, we lived in the house next door, which she had built, and she had rented out. She herself was divorced, raised my dad. She was kind of a remarkable person. In 1918, you had the pandemic. Part of the family died. One of her sisters, so she took on the two children, finished raising them. I can remember my bedroom was right next to the garage in which my great uncle had his Model A Ford pickup truck. 5 o'clock in the morning, every Saturday morning, I would hear that thing crank up. And he would take his stuff down to Bel Air Market. Graduated from seminary '64. I can remember the Zion, the church I attended, when I was a teenager. I took in the first black family. There was some resistance to that, but the minister was totally integration, and that's where I had big influence on me. But when I was out at Augsburg, I was a part of what was known as Ministerial Alliance. It was an all-black group, and we used to meet in the parsonage. It's people like Perrin Mitchell and that group. I can recall that the phone was being tapped, and anytime we would meet, we had to have music playing. It was the time when I was in high school. It was the integration of black in the public school system. I graduated in '56. On the 4th of July, the family, early on, this would be back in the 1800s and early 1900s, celebrated the 4th of July somewhere around Mount Pleasant of Harriman Park. 2 weeks prior to the 4th of July, my grandmother would always go back to a spring back here. And she would clean out the spring so they would have clean water to drink during the celebration. We used to get our water from Hall Springs. My dad managed the baseball team that was from Zion Lutheran Church. We played mainly down at Harriman Park or Mount Pleasant Park. So I have a house full of stuff. Even have the original tax records.